subscribe if you want to subscribe. Um, I suggest you don't hit notifications. My channel's not that important unless you think it is. Then you can hit notifications if you want to be notified when I do post. Like or dislike, it's up. That's your up to you. I'm not gonna ask. Um, Also, leave a comment. Any feedback, criticism, um, or questions, I will answer. Anything that's posted in the comments, I will try to respond to them. I do read them. When I do get notified that they were posted, I do read them. Luca Doncic, with the Dallas Mavs. I mean, the Dallas Mavs in general. They're in a state of disarray at this point. They're in a state of disarray. The fact that they lost to the Detroit Pistons and they lost to I think three straight worst losing teams or something like that. The Rockets, the Pistons, and I forgot who the other one was. But this is not a playoff bound team, honestly. I'm not a Mavs fan, but I don't think Luca deserves something like this. I mean, the Mavs made a mistake. I hate to say it, but they made a mistake by trading away Porzingis. He's doing pretty decent now, pretty good, and with the Wizards. Um, I think they are totally underestimated with Brunson. Now I'm glad the Knicks picked him up. I think that was a little bit of an over payment on their part, and they overvalued him. But you know what? It's turning out to be pretty good for us so far. We'll see what happens down the line. But yeah, the Mavs definitely undervalued Brunson as well too. They figured okay they could get him back, but in reality no, and they lost him for what could have been something fairly cheaper for the Mavs, to be quite honest, when they signed Brunson. If they had signed Brunson, same thing with Luca, not Luca, sorry, with Porzingis. And the fact is, the Knicks actually get that pick, that draft pick from the Mavs. I'm hoping here in this situation, the Knicks actually they fall way far down into the draft that like they're in the top seven pick. They get into the top seven picks. The Knicks have that pick, which is great. But yeah, the Mavs. Honestly, Luca, I can see you could see the frustration in him basically, especially when he was playing against the Pistons. He thought they should have won the game. You could see that he was totally frustrated with his teammates. He needs that number two. I don't think there's anyone that could step up for that. And the fact that they're not going to get anything in this draft, the Mavs have to trade something, some capital to get someone in return to be a complement to Luca. But will that ever happen? I doubt it. Honestly, if I'm the Mavs, I hate to say, being a Mavs, not a Mavs fan, but being the fact that I am a basketball fan, and if you're a Mavs fan, you're gonna have to wait a bit to get back some really good players to rebuild. Basically, honestly, I would trade Luca to a team that would want him, that has the right amount of people to work around him. Honestly, I would say trade him to the Bucks, trade him to the Milwaukee Bucks. Him and Giannis can do really well. They can actually dominate the East for them. I mean, you don't want to trade Luca to someone in the West. I would trade him to someone in the East, get some serious draft capital from them, as well as other players as well in the process. Um, Granted, it's gonna suck for the Mavs, but at the same time, uh, you are in a rebuilding phase. You need some draft capital, some serious draft capital now, and you need to rebuild. I mean, you can sign some free agents here and there as well too, but I mean, honestly, outside of the Luca draft, yeah, their drafting hasn't been so great per se. So usually it's been signing by signing free agents and all that stuff. But then again, you know what? Maybe it's just an overhaul on their part as well too, with the recruitment team, or the oh my mind's drawing a brain fart now as far as what it's called, where they scouts, the scouting has to probably be overhauled at that point too. You know what? And I could see uh, Mark Cuban revamping the scouting team as well too, to like, I don't want to see be more data centric, but they could add data aspects as well as to experience as well too in the scouting aspects of who should they should draft when scouting in not only college but in the international players as well too, which they've done, and you've seen what they've done and how well they've done it with. Um, yeah, I mean, honestly, it's a sad state of affairs. Uh, Honestly, if I would love to have Luca on the Knicks, but that's not happening. Honestly, I mean the Knicks do have some draft capital that they give back to they could give back to the Mavs. I mean, I hate to say it, but in reality, maybe maybe trade Tobin, and if you could, yeah, Tobin, Obi Tobin. I mean, I hate to say it, or Cam Reddish for that matter. I mean, I don't want to see Cam Reddish leave, but you know what? Maybe trade Cam Reddish with an Obi Toppin and one draft pick, their draft pick that they gave back to us for Luca. I mean, you know what? That might help him out in the long term. I don't know. Would I love to see Luca with the Knicks? Oh, by far, definitely, most definitely. But will he fit into the would he fit into the actual Knicks um, the Knicks for the Knicks roster? That's a tough one. That's tough for Thibodeau to work with. But that's me getting ahead of myself. First off, I don't think the Mavs are going to trade Luca because they're not that stupid or crazy. But if they are willing to rebuild, I would trade Luca to most likely the Bucks or the Knicks or anyone that has some serious draft capital for the next couple of years. I would trade to them basically to get that draft capital built up to do rebuilding at that point. Are there any players in college right now that they can get out of in the next draft? I don't know. Time will tell. I haven't seen much. We'll see. I could be wrong. Uh, but if that is the case, I will probably talk about it maybe somewhere in January or something like that. Um, yeah. Outside of that, I mean, I don't know why I'm actually talking about the Mavs. It just something came up about the Mavs, and like I was like, all right, whatever. And seeing like the score. Actually, I was on ESPN.com and I see Luca and Steph, and I'm like, oh, this kind of sucks. Basically, what's happening with Luca, basically. Anyways, uh, yep. So unfiltered, unedited, and unrehearsed. Until next time.